Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Established Runs NBA Injury Report Analysis Show. I'm Drew Dinkmeyer here alongside Mike Gallagher. Let's talk a couple of game twos. A couple series evened up last night. Really fun basketball. Enjoyed it quite a bit. Mike, how are you doing on this fine Wednesday? And are you expecting to see any series evened up tonight?
I am not. I am good. Answer those in the wrong way. I'm doing hike this morning. Went to a new dog park today. Brody was very excited,
Nice.
and I rolled my ankle. I am heat questionable for the DFS
Oh,
show today, but thankfully it was my right ankle because if my left was my left ankle, I have a bad left knee. And that could have been real bad. But yeah, I'm good.
good to hear
Rub some dirt on it.
good to hear your heat questionable. We'll talk
Yep.
about all the heat questionable tags here in a second. But yeah, the hoops last night was really entertaining. I was interested to see if Giannis could kind of pull things back into the second half for Milwaukee after an incredible shooting performance from Boston last night. And then obviously, man, the trauma and the injury updates that we're going to be dealing with,
Ooh.
results in Golden State and Memphis was remarkable last night. So
That Gary
playoff
Payton injury is
basketball,
huge.
yeah, playoff basketball in full display. I enjoyed it quite a bit last night. I thought I thought both games were entertaining. I thought you saw the teams that were down play really hard, really, really hard. So you can usually expect that to be the case in these series. Sometimes in the early series in the playoffs, the talent gaps between the teams are so wide that you don't. It doesn't really matter. But as you get deeper into the playoffs, you definitely see situations where the talent gaps are a little bit closer and effort ends up paying off. And I think that's kind of what happened last night.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the injury stuff today. On the Miami-Philadelphia side, on Philadelphia, Joel Embiid still ruled out, supposedly starting to do some of the concussion protocol stuff. So I think there's maybe some hope for game 3. What are you hearing with regards to Embiid's status for the rest of the series?
Yeah, like you said, it sounds like he's got a shot. He's progressing. It was a mild concussion. I think, generally we get concerned when guys don't travel for road trips, right? That usually means there are multiple games, not even the 2 that they're going to miss. Usually means there's a pretty good chance of missing the next one. Now, as I mentioned before, like concussion, you don't want him flying. Like that makes sense. It sounds like they had no chance to play him anyway. So I think he's got a pretty good chance. But tonight, apparently they're starting DeAndre Jordan again. We'll see how that works. We'll see how long that leash is. Please hang some prop lines, books, and I expect him to go small. I'm curious to see how Miami handles his own. That was really a thing that gave him trouble. Spoelstra talked about that after the game.
Yep.
But I'm expecting a lot of small ball, a lot of zone. So maybe we'll see maybe some more. We'll see if we get some rebound lines or something like that for some of the wing guys.
On to the Heat side of things, I mean, you'll see here there are 5 questionable statuses: Tyler Hero, Caleb Martin, Max Strus, PJ Tucker, and Gabe Vincent. Kyle Lowry is still out. Jimmy Butler is notably not on the injury report. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts around some of these Heat injuries today?
Yeah, they're fake. Pretty much they were listed before. Nothing new. We saw Strus. I mean, they're real injuries. Like Strus legit grabbed his hamstring. The closeout game against the Hawks, but he's good to go. Minutes weren't really restricted, so yeah, it should be fine. Worth noting, Jimmy missed practice for personal reasons. I don't know if that really matters because he looked bad.
He did look bad. I wanted to get your thoughts on that one as well because we both liked Jimmy a lot in terms of the matchup in that first game, but some of the things that we had seen, with Drew Holiday that had us concerned in that first series against the Bulls, I saw some of those things in that first game against Philadelphia. Now Drew came right back and stuck it to us. Didn't have any of those issues in the first 2 games against Boston. What are your thoughts on Jimmy's health here? And are you as optimistic as we were going into game 1 on Jimmy's performances tonight?
Yeah, I feel pretty good. It was a lot of game plan too. Like obviously he missed shots. He missed some shots he's usually supposed to make, but he's gone through the stretches before where sometimes he just miss because he's just so contested all the time and he's so good at it. Sometimes it just works against you. But I think he'll look a little bit better. The game plan was definitely get Bam involved. Bam got 12 paint touches in the last game. That's double what he averaged in the first round. So I expect him to get a pretty good amount. They couldn't stop the hero Bam pick and roll. So when Jimmy was out there, he was just kind of, standing in the corner. Not exactly standing in the corner, but he wasn't involved in the action as much as he normally is. So very curious to see the counters because we saw probably shouldn't give some of this. I talked about it on 3-ball. Like the hero hunting was out of control. Like every single possession, they switched on a hero. Miami said, "Okay, fine, just switch," and they would just have strong side help every play.
Yep.
And then Miami, the Sixers would try to kick it over, but they would close out and cover it. So, I'll have some takes on that because I think there's always some edge to that because I don't really think the Sixers want to even recounter, which I guess they can, but I'll get more into that later. But pretty much, Jimmy. Bottom line is, I think Jimmy will look a little better today.
Yeah, we can talk more about that on the DFS show because I've got some takes there with regards to Philadelphia in Game 1, and I do expect Philadelphia to play better tonight, at least on the scoreboard, than they did in Game 1. Some of the shooting regression should be pretty natural there. I mean, 6 for 34 from 3. A lot of those wide open threes, really, really looked like good shots that they just weren't able to connect on, especially George Niang. I mean, 0 for 7, totally wide open on all 7. That's unusual. He should make at least 2 of those, even on a bad shooting day.
Yeah.
Most of those. So we will see if Philadelphia can try to knot the series and buy more time for Embiid. In terms of other injuries,
I'll just add: is Harden healthy? I mean, he looks terrible.
I thought he looked good in the first half. The second half, he just wasn't aggressive. And only scored 4 points in the second half, something like that. I mean, at half he had like 15, I want to say like 15, 6 and 3, something like that. 14, 6 and 3, 12, 6 and 3, something like that. He had like a pretty decent first half and then like just completely fell apart in the second half in terms of his aggressiveness. Tobias looked really good in the first game and played really, really well. I thought Maxey, it was pretty much what we expected, right? When Maxey can get into transition, he is super, super effective. And they had a little spurt where they got a couple transition possessions in a row off of turnovers, long rebounds, which you can get those long rebounds against the Heat because they'll shoot threes, right, and get into transition. But in the half court, just not quite there yet. And that's really where Philadelphia was able to generate open 3-point looks, but they weren't able to generate, much around the basket. And that's probably going to be the case for the series until Joel returns.
Yep.
Okay, let's look ahead to the late game in terms of injuries there. No changes. Dario Saric still out for Phoenix. Wouldn't play if he was healthy. Tim Hardaway Jr. still out for Dallas. Long recovery there from the foot surgery. In terms of, without going too much into rotation changes and different things that we expect, in terms of limitations, I did want to touch on Luka, who had a big wrap on at practice yesterday on that quad. It looked like on the left quad. He was kind of limping late in the game a little bit. He played 44 minutes in that opener. He's not listed on the injury report at all. Do you have any concerns at all around Luka's workload in the series? Because I think he's going to have to essentially play mid-40s minutes pretty routinely.
Yeah, no, he should be fine. They're actually doing shoot around right now, and Luka looks like he's kind of in the distance. I'm trying to look. Yeah, he doesn't think he has anything on there, so should be fine. But big workload, 38 drives in the last game. It was just Jalen Brunson just took a backseat in like a huge way last game. But yeah, I got a lot of anticipation and rotation changes here, so we could talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll talk about all that stuff on the DFS show. We'll leave that behind the paywall. Did want to know, man, the stuff that some of these young dudes in this league are doing right now is really exciting for like the growth and the future of this game and what it looks like. I mean, Ja last night, he's not even what, 23 yet. I mean, Ja is super, super young. Luka is super young. Luka, to me, is doing some of the same stuff LeBron did in LeBron's early playoff career stuff. I think the difference is the league that LeBron was playing in was far less optimized in terms of roster builds and different things like that. So it was a little bit more spread out, the talent, and as a result, the playoff teams weren't quite as high end as some of the playoff teams that you're seeing nowadays. But man, Luka, the stuff that he's doing at this age is remarkable. Sags and chat notes, the NBA is in good hands. It's in real good hands. But glad to see the ratings. Were up for round one. The ratings for Golden State Memphis were really good. I think the other thing about basketball the last few years is like having the Warriors back, man. The Warriors are fun. people love watching the Warriors, right? And like,
Yeah.
I've never been a Warriors fan. Although I will say this, for pretty much my whole life, pretty much my whole basketball watching life, the Warriors have just had fun teams, like the Baron Davis team, the like they've just had fun teams. So it's really really awesome. And Sags notes, is the NBA ready for an international face of the league? Jokic, Giannis, or Luka? I think it's a great question. I think Luka is going to be that guy. I think Giannis should be the guy, but I think Luka is going to end up being the guy. But Giannis is such a seems like such a good human being, just like a really warm, fun person who likes to joke around, and like that should be the face of the league. He's so good.
Yeah. I think it's going to be. I mean, Giannis, come on. How do you the dad joke stuff? I mean, so when he won the 50-piece chicken minis, and the Chick-fil-A attendant, he asked if he could put it on camera. Like, come on, like, how do you not like this dude?
It's so good.
And like,
I still remember. So my girlfriend's Greek, so I was showing her some of the old. Do you remember Giannis's rookie year? Milwaukee had all this video content around like Giannis adapting to the US. Yeah. One was like Giannis driving lessons. Giannis gets like custard for the first time. I love it. It's so good. Smoothie King Giannis.
Smoothie King,
I love it, man. It is so good. It's really fun to feel like you're, I don't know. It's fun in life to root for people, but to watch excellence, which all these guys at the NBA level are incredible, and these top of the top guys are really, really phenomenal. But to also see them seem to portray like being really good, wholesome, warm human beings. I love that stuff. And I think with these international guys, you get all of that. Giannis, Luka, and Jokic. I think Luka's a little bit of a different thing because he's been a phenom from such a young age, so he's a little more polished than Jokic. But I saw did you see the draft video of Jokic floating around yesterday on Twitter?
Yeah, I saw that. Yep.
It's just so good. These guys are just such. I don't know.
Imagine Embiid saying stuff like that. Sorry.
But I actually think like younger videos of Embiid were probably like that too. I think Embiid.
I'll say young Embiid was so good. I mean, that dude was insta follow on Twitter. Like,
I think Philly's fan base, like I think New York's fan base does. I think it puts a little crust, a little hardens you a little bit, because I think the Philly fan base likes to be like us against the world. That's like a mantra that they really, really like. And I think Embiid has like taken that on from the process years. And obviously there is some truth to that in terms of the league shutting down Hinkie and the things that they were trying to accomplish there. So it's just put a really big chip on Embiid's shoulder, which I think is representative of the fan base that has a really big chip on their shoulder. But he was similar things when he first got to the league in terms of like just the naivety, and like he's obviously a very funny dude. Like Embiid's a very funny guy. So the league is in incredible hands.
They're so different. Like everyone just like back in like the early 2000s, there's just so many wing scorers. Like
everybody was trying to
T-Mac, T-Mac, Vince Carter, like all those guys. It was such a similar style, and like all these stars are so different from each other. It's really cool.
Yeah, and in a lot of ways, I think LeBron probably doesn't get enough credit for that. In that everybody, when LeBron was coming up, was trying to be Michael, and he really wasn't. He was just trying to like be a little bit maybe more Magic, but like really more himself. Just like this is the way you play basketball and stuff. And I think it's led to a lot of guys, who along with like LeBron, also Dirk. Like Dirk kind of came and was like a totally unique thing and like himself. And I think that has allowed some of these other guys to just be themselves as basketball players. And they're really fun to watch. They're I love the NBA and I love the league so much. I hope that comes through for all you guys, for how much Mike and I both love this league and love basketball. Because I know it's something that really I think should be emphasized and highlighted by people who cover the game. Like it's such a fun sport.
Yeah. I mean, we wouldn't do the work we do if we didn't love the league what we do.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's like with Steph, man. That's when I started to realize I really like covering and writing about it. Like I think I started writing in 2006, and like just here and there, And then like when Steph was coming up, that's when I remember like writing like a rookie report on him and stuff. And yeah, it was just that dude. I was just like, because like LeBron too, like LeBron is just overlapped with where I've been as like actual someone to be able to understand basketball, even though you and I are like pretty much the same age. But the Jordan stuff, we obviously saw him and know he's great, but just to analyze.
Jordan was my childhood, man. So like Jordan
for sure,
was everything for me because I was a Bulls fan growing up. So like, man, watching playoff games with my dad in his office, and like those were all our silly rituals that we had around superstitions and whatnot. Just fantastic. Yeah, and Andrew notes obvious. Mike loves it. The dude
obviously
OKC Detroit games. That is true. Yeah. Mike, you have a different level of passion for
I love news. So I was thinking about this on my hike today. I just love new stuff. Like no matter what, I just love it. Like I am gonna hammer you with small samples. It's just the way I am. Anything new, I'm like a little kid. So like seeing these OKC guys that I've never seen before, like okay, I get to kind of analyze them again. Yeah. Kind of, that's what I look forward to. So yeah, it's so next time I give you a small sample and you shoot me down for it because you got a big sample, that's why.
Yeah. All right. I think 10-day contracts, Mike. Yeah. Mike.
No, Mike we do not like bozo season.
To the bozos during health and safety protocols. I have full disdain for the bozos during health and safety protocols, but Mike grew a little bit there at the end. All right. So. I think we've covered the injury stuff for today. We will be off tomorrow.
Well, we actually didn't cover one thing.
What do you want to cover?
Chris Paul.
Oh, okay. Chris Paul, not on the injury report. What would you like to?
Yeah, he's got his minutes capped. Monty said he wants to cut him down. So keep that in mind. We saw him play short minutes.
Didn't we do this though earlier in the regular season?
I believe him though. I think he's starting to wear down, man. We saw that was kind of their undoing last year, right? Like Chris Paul.
I think that's probably true.
Mm-hmm.
I do think I was saying this in the New Orleans series. At the end of that series, I thought how Alvarado was making him work like every single possession. And the weight that he was carrying was huge. And the dude went out and finished 14 of 14. And I agree. I think they want to be mindful of it. But I will note they said the same thing when Booker got hurt earlier in the year. Mm-hmm. Remember, and CP3 went on like a rage of playing like 38, 39. And they said, like, we want to be mindful of this. And it took a while before they scaled it back. So I think they want to be mindful of it. But I think it's going to be a little bit on a needs basis, right? Like that game, the game one, his minutes were down a lot, but game one, they were pretty comfortably ahead
right.
the whole game.
I think that's the thing. If they were behind, so I think, and don't forget, they got to an early lead too.
Yep.
So it's definitely case specific. So I don't think that they're going into it hoping they're going to cap him. I think.
So that's the point I wanted to get to. I agree.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think they would love to have CP3 play 30 to 32 minutes a night right now.
Yes, that's the goal. But
I don't know that they will be afforded all of those opportunities. Obviously, if they get the shooting they got last game from Cam Johnson and Jay Crowder and Mikal Bridges, and they get Book kind of cooking like he was early in the game, they'll have the ability to do that. But I do think, I do think Dallas is going to put some pressure on them at different points in the series, and you're going to see Chris Paul play his 37-38. Like, I think that will happen.
Yeah, we saw the full bench in the fourth. That was something. This little unit right there, that was truly wild. To see that.
Monty has done stuff like that during the course of the last 2 years. If you remember, I think it was last year, I said I thought that was going to be their undoing in the playoffs, right? I thought their willingness to trust the bench so much and not stagger CP3 and Booker as aggressively was going to be something that caught up to them. And then they didn't do that in the playoffs. They got away from that in the playoffs last year, and they staggered them really aggressively, and it worked out really well. But I do think game one could be a little bit misleading just because of how comfortable that game was throughout for Phoenix. I mean, they really were not pressured much throughout that game. You could say maybe a little bit at the end. I actually think if Phoenix could write up a game to have like their perfect ideal game, I think it's that one every single time, because not only were they comfortable the whole way, they had Luka playing 44 minutes, right? And I think that all of this stuff is cumulative in terms of wearing your opponents down, right, during the course of the playoffs. And there's a lot of stuff that goes into playoff basketball. We saw last night it's a more physical variety of basketball. It's more intense. But I also think, the mental stamina of playoff basketball, and I think this is what happens at the end of series sometimes, and we talk about this when teams get like checkmated, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where they just mentally let go of the rope a little bit. And I think all of these things are like cumulative, right? You get Luka to play 45 minutes instead of 37 in the first game, and maybe by game 5 or 6, starts to feel the wear and tear a little bit more, both physically and mentally on this stuff. And I think that's probably like, I don't know if you all out there are listening to Draymond's podcast. I highly recommend it. But it's one of the things that he talks about is, the mental preparation that goes into playing just NBA basketball, period, let alone playoff basketball, is really probably a lot more than most people are prepared to think through and aware of.
Yeah, and I'll just add really quick just to compare what Chris Paul's rotations look like. So we saw him not come back to start the second and the fourth. That was the big thing. Yep. He usually comes back in, early start second. So that was taken away. So that brought him down. But yeah, we'll see what happens if the game's a little bit tighter.
Yeah. Yeah. Felix in chat knows Draymond's podcast is so good. It is.
I was just thinking today, I need to find some new pods.
Oh man, binge like anything Draymond talking hoops to me is super interesting.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I got it.
There's also Iguodala and Evan Turner have a Point Forward podcast on the Metal Arc.
Okay.
On the Metal Arc network. It's interesting. It's a mix of basketball and technology investing and culture. Huh. It's different. Draymond is like pure basketball, and
that's what I want.
Yeah, Draymond's is so good. It's really, really good. All right. Not a lot of injuries to talk to. We still found a way to go 20 minutes because of our love for hoops, our love talking hoops, and our love hanging out with you guys. We will be off tomorrow. No NBA games tomorrow. So we will be returning on Friday for another edition of Established Run's NBA Injury Report Analysis Show. We will be on, Mike and myself.
Little teaser. There's going to be some Miami questionable tag for that game.
Yeah, inevitably. We'll see if we get a Joel questionable tag on Friday.
Yeah.
As well. We will be on tonight at, I guess it's a 5:30. I thought.
Yep.
I thought it was 5 for some reason in my head. 5:30 Eastern time tonight. Behind the paywall, the premium DFS content. I think we had some users with some big screenshots last night. I think we put people in a good position. The Grant Williams spicy flag plant worked out really, really well. Obviously, fading Dylan Brooks worked out great in a weird, horrible way, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Is he getting one game or two? One? Just one?
I think he'll get just one because it was basically a full game suspension by being thrown out 3 minutes in.
Yeah. And do the Warriors want to just say no thanks? Like, are they like opining? Yo, please don't suspend this dude. We need him out there.
We talked about that with Dylan Brooks yesterday on the premium show about how I think if Dylan Brooks had the mentality that he was Matisse Thybulle in terms of his approach, I think he'd be a really good player.
Yeah.
And by that I mean just like lean into the fact you're a great defender, and then just take the open shots when they leave you open on offense. And it's in the stuff in transition. But like ISO Dylan, not needed, not necessary. We'll be behind the paywall 5:30 Eastern tonight, breaking down this 2-game slate with all of our DFS thoughts. Join us there. You can get weekly subscriptions if you're not subscribed already. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel here, and consider pressing, smashing, or hitting the like button to help circulate this content so we can continue to get more eyeballs on the content. We're trying to grow this brand, this network, so on and so forth. You can also choose to follow us on Twitter if you'd like to as well.
Oh, by the way, I forgot to at you on the notification today, and I was really sorry about that. And put your at in the content schedule tweet.
Oh no!
So that's my bad. I was like, oh no.
No wonder I'm having to pitch my own.
I'm so Oh god, I was like so embarrassed. I was like, oh no, I forgot that think.
But you can find us at Mike S. Gallagher on Twitter and at Drew Dinkmeyer on Twitter as well. You can find us over there. You can find us at Establish Run NBA on Twitter as well for our Twitter account there. But Hopefully you all know that by now. If not, please click along, follow along, support us. And we will have free content tomorrow. It'll be on the Established Run NBA podcast. It'll probably go up tomorrow night. We'll be breaking down all 4 series through 2 games each in our views after those 2 games. So for Mike, for myself, enjoy the games tonight. We'll see you again on Friday at 2 o'clock Eastern with another edition of Established Run's NBA Injury Report Analysis Show. Take care, everybody.